But yes, it is a new year, new pod. Well, new year, same pod, new subject
Yes,
matter.
sir.
And like I said, we got Connor here hanging out with us this week on the show. Give our this is actually your part of the where you can hashtag shameless plug yourself really quick, Connor, if you want.
Yes, sir.
Let our
Awesome.
community know who you are, what you're about, what you like to do on the internet and everything on your little pocket of the internet.
Why you do that? I'll be
Sounds
happy.
really good. I started in my little pocket of the internet way back when, making some anime music videos.
Oh hell yeah, that's how yeah.
You
Yeah.
was part of the early AMV
like-
crew.
Early high school, I think, is when I did it. So that would have been like 2005, 2006
Hell yeah.
time when I made a few anime music videos. I started doing stuff proper in 2015, 2016 or something when I decided to put my YouTube channel towards basically a love letter to the Legend of Zelda franchise, which has been my love. I'm wearing one of my Zelda shirts right now. It's been my love basically since I knew that video games was a thing. So about age 4 or 5, when I was bashing my head against a wall trying to figure out how the Legend of the original Zelda NES worked.
Oh, so when consciousness finally kicked in.
More or less, yes. I remember the gray box NES. I remember sitting there and either wandering around lost on Legend of Zelda or constantly getting murdered in Adventure of Link, because that's what those two games do.
Mood.
So my YouTube channel primarily is a whole bunch of love letters, playthroughs, and video essays about every game in the Zelda franchise. That transferred to me writing features articles for Zelda Universe.
Oh, yeah,
Big
homies
Legend
over
of
at
Zelda
Zelda
fan
Universe.
site.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And I now am the official manager and head of the Zelda Universe podcast, which we are in the middle of revamping, and we should have our first episode coming at the end of this month.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Very nice, very nice.
Where can we watch
Aside
that
from
at?
that,
Or listen to it, shall I say?
listen to it. Probably ZeldaUniverse.net is where you're going to find it right now. We're having some fun times at the moment with technical issues for
Love to
some
see it.
annoying reason.
Uh-huh.
So we're in the middle of trying to figure that out. So we'll hopefully have that all done when it will then be available at pretty much everywhere you normally can acquire podcasts, including YouTube. And then aside from that, I stream here on Twitch as a hobby. I stream Zelda games on Mondays. I do Genshin Impact on Wednesdays, and then I play whatever else it is I feel like playing at the time. I love games that focus on story and immersion.
Yeah.
So I heard you say Genshin, which means that you like Hoyo. So how do you feel about Zenless Zone
Hoyo.
Zero?
I love Zenless Zone Zero. The action is the smoothest gameplay I have experienced in a long time. I was a little hesitant on the story when it first got going, but now that it has really kicked into high gear, I love it. And the characters are amazing. And yes, most of them are super sexy, and I love it.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
I played the game a wee bit too much, as in every day.
He's playing it right now.
He's playing
Well, yeah,
right now.
Not right now, not yet. I will be, but not yet.
Not yet.
Well, yeah,
Yet,
you
he
got
says.
you got to keep up so you don't top out your energy. It's the same thing with Genshin. You just gotta you jump in, you grab some materials, and then you're done.
And if I'm not getting materials, I just keep charging my battery. Did not know that the battery could cap out at 1,000, so I had the 1,000 plus the 2,400 in reserve plus 27 batteries.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a bit too much.
I generally don't let it get that high.
That's not numbers.
My day starts out with I wake up, I walk the dog, I take care of bodily functions, and then I sit down and I take care of whatever dailies I need to do in both Genshin and Zenless. And then, depending on what it is, I either drive to work, pick something up on the way, or I'm working from home, and so I open up my emails and figure out what I'm going to do with my life.
Okay.
Valid.
But yeah, Connor, you said that you basically like your gaming beginning started with Zelda. So like I saw on your YouTube channel you've recently or might still be doing a playthrough of Echoes of Wisdom. Clearly, you also played Tears of the Kingdom. What is your current thoughts on like the current space of Zelda right now?
So to give context, like I said, I've started since the beginning, and I've kept with Zelda all the way to now. So I have played literally every Zelda game, and where we are currently at, I am very happy with where we are currently at. Echoes of Wisdom was brilliant, in my opinion. I absolutely loved my first playthrough. Honestly, it's currently sitting at number 5 on my personal list.
Nice.
The story is solid. The open world setup that they have is great, and the puzzle solving that you get to do by copying all of the items and enemies out in the world and throwing them at each other is absolutely ingenious. I have not felt so much freedom in puzzle solving in a long time.
Like a top-down Zelda fashion, yeah.
Yes. It's super well done. Tears of the Kingdom. You see how I'm hesitating?
Yeah.
It's not bad. I'm going to start with that. It's not bad.
We were just like, go on.
Continue.
What are you going to say? So, I every time I throw up my personal Zelda rankings, I always have to say that I love every single one of them. Just because one is above another doesn't mean that I hate the one below it. I love them all dearly.
Yeah.
Including Zelda CD?
Ah, yes, that's the best one.
I have played them. Here's the funny thing. That someone actually made a quote-unquote remastered version that I was able to play, which takes out the bugginess that the original CDI setup had.
But that's the charm!
I was able to play it like the game was officially actually intended to be played. And I have to say, it was actually not that bad. I enjoyed what they had set up with a proto-Metroid kind of setup where you would get items in one place that you needed to give to people somewhere else so you could get what you needed.
See, Brendan, look what happens when we give games a chance.
Listen, we're not...
Those animations and voice acting is still the stuff of nightmares.
Well, very much
that's
so.
the best part.
Oh, yeah,
that's the best part.
Very much so.
It's stuff like that. That's why Arzette exists. Because they're like, oh, we got some of the actors from CDI in the same nonsense cutscenes, but an actual game that works. Like, I still want to play it. It looks fun. Just for the memes. I just want to see how dumb it is.
Now, when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom, they were ambitious. From a gameplay standpoint, it is second to none. There are videos out there talking about how the things that you can do in Tears of the Kingdom should not be physically possible.
Yeah, like the engineering majors went crazy.
That was the most
absolutely insane.
Aerospace engineering game I've ever seen. It was insane.
Exactly.
I played Kerbal Space Program.
Absolutely crazy. And when the story hits, it hits hard.
Yeah.
The highs of that game is some of the pinnacle that Zelda's ever been able to produce.
I'm currently starting my I haven't rolled credits on it, but I've started the game like 4 different times, and every time it's actually been a different scenario. Like I've gone different routes every time.
Yeah.
But I do want to roll credits on that soon. Yeah.
My problems with it, and this is where my hesitation comes in, is where things really get annoying for me.
Speak your truth.
First off, it is both dense and yet empty at the exact same time, and it's very disconjoining for me.
You can feel that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Valid.
So, the easy comparison, of course, is Breath of the Wild, which is their direct sequel. The whole point of Breath of the Wild was to go out, explore, and be immersed. And the setup that they had was excellent for that. With Tears of the Kingdom, they tried to do the same thing, but at the same time, the setting that you are being placed under with this threat of Ganondorf and everything that's going on, it makes you feel like there's some kind of pressure going on.
Yeah.
And then there's always, there seems to be something that you're supposed to be doing. And yet there's so much emptiness. But there's also all of this stuff that you can do. There are caves, and there are signs, and
I see what you,
frogs, and
I see what you mean. It's like, oh, hey, Link, save the world. We're going to die. Meanwhile, you're too busy launching Koroks into space. Like, that's basically what I've seen and what I can get from the game. I know it's great, but I know exactly how you feel when you mention that.
the depths is the biggest offender in this. It is amazing what is down there and can be a real challenge for you, and it's super mysterious. When it comes to the actual game, it means absolutely nothing.
See, there
is nothing down there relevant to anything that you are doing, aside from being a place where you go to certain people.
See, being an outsider to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I remember seeing a friend play it and go into the depths. I'm just like, oh, so this is just something to spook the people who are easily scared and give children nightmares.
Yes.
Brave
it's really
the darkness
cool down there, but there's no meat to it. So again, really dense yet really empty at the same time. My other problem, like I said, I'm huge into story, is the pacing. Breath of the Wild, you basically start the game knowing everything that it is you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
You woke up, you know what's going on, there's your destination, Zelda's holding things off until you're ready to go. Awesome. Everything that you find out in Breath of the Wild just gives further context to a situation that you're already aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom, they set up that story like a big, epic conflict. And you don't know everything that's going on. Where's Zelda? That's literally your first objective. You gotta find her. And so what happened to her? What's going on? And so by placing the memories in places where you can find them at unconventional times, in the wrong order, you absolutely annihilate the pacing of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, they give you the locations to get them in order.
But
oh my gosh, I hit the emotional crux of that game and still had 2.5 dungeons to get through.
Yeah.
And it was murder.
Yeah, the tier system, or like the geoglyph system, definitely is interesting, because like what you said, you can run into the memories or the past things out of order, and it's like if you're following like the base route that they want you to take in the beginning to go to like the Rito village and stuff, you'll see what is basically the biggest spoiler of the story right there, and you're like, okay, I gotta skip that, I can't watch that yet. Like, you'll just see someone die, and you're like, oh, don't have context for that yet. So
it's one of those where it's like it reminds me. Connor, I have a question. Do you have a PS5?
I do not.
Okay, so the reason why I asked is actually this is something I mentioned on our show months ago when it came out. Mark, I think you know where I'm going with this. There is a game, rather a social experiment called Interaction Isn't Explicit, where it talks about game design as a whole in the game design theory. And one of the things is how to railroad players into the plot and interact with things that they need to interact with without being overbearing or without being like, oh, well, there's no other way around this, you can do with it. Tears of the Kingdom has that problem where if you make it too loose, you make it too open, you run into situations like that. You see sequences out of order, you get spoiled, and you kind of ruin the game unintentionally. Versus like, let's say games like let's keep it in line here. Let's go to Twilight Princess, right? While it is open for a lot of things you can do, there is a still set path you have to go in order to do your objective, in order to get your upgrades, get your abilities, blah 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 blah, to get to the end, and you hit those story beats in the correct order. So it's one of those where it's like, I can see where with Tears of the Kingdom, as a technical marvel that it is for the Switch, it is a misstep because they really sold people on how open it is, and that can be to its detriment because of situations.
Yeah.
There's a distinct challenge in the construction of open world games, and we're in an era of open world games where you see how story can be affected by that ability to interact with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The more open you make it, the more widespread. I play Dungeons and Dragons, and so this is the exact same kind of issue. That as a dungeon master, I see the exact same issue. Yes, Players, you have the exact freedom to do anything that you want. Just, by the way, there is something that's trying to destroy the fabric of the universe. And if you ignore it, other things are going to happen.
No, we want to go shopping.
By the way,
shopping episode.
I understand you want to romance that dragon over there. I totally get it. However, we have bigger problems. There's a nuke gonna go off in 2 days.
Let's go to the tavern.
See, look, I know that there's nuke that's gonna go off in 2 days. But what about my wares? I need to look good before I break the nuke.
I gotta have drip or drown, DM. Drip or drown.
Episode.
The beach episode.
We don't have time for a time. We don't have time for a time skip. Shippuden arc. We have the thing to stop.
It'll still be there, and if it's not, it wasn't meant to be.
And that's the exact logic. Lovely.
And that's one of the reasons why I was so happy with how Echoes of Wisdom is set up. So, like, there are sections, but within those sections, it's not like you have to go to Area 1, Area 2, Area 3. It's, here's this first section you're in, and there are 2 problems. So you got to do one and then the other, but you can do whichever one you want. And then you can do both of them, and you can explore them at your leisure.
It's kind of like a Link Between Worlds setup, right?
Yeah. Link Between Worlds kind of has that. Actually, I want to say Link to the Past is probably a better comparison.
Yeah.
Because with Link to the Past, you know all of the places you're supposed to go in order to get the pendants or to rescue the maidens.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're numbered, it doesn't say you have to go to them.
You can if you want to.
Look, it's my decision if I want to be maidenless.
You are maidenless.
Look, are we really going to go into relationship statuses now?
I mean, they had in the next Zelda game.
What's up, Mark?
Well,
That's it. Next Zelda game's a dating sim.
Honestly, it's going to happen, fan-made or otherwise.
I'm surprised it hasn't been made yet. It probably has. It's probably.
Listen, we can have if we can date the Colonel, let us date Ganondorf. I want to see what happens.
That's curse.
Trust me, there were 10,000 thirsty people when Ganon got rehydrated. Just saying.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It was Matt Mercer of all people too.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy to do it.
I can't stand rehydrated.
Just the word.
There, but I absolutely hate the term. It's so bad.
Just took a dip in some
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Would you rather have undehydrated? I don't know how to tell you this, Chief.